So, what's going on, Read My Lips people? Yeah, I'll just jump right into it. The DNC, in my opinion, is up to their old shenanigans. Now, it is very much well known that when Bernie Sanders ran in 2016, the DNC screwed him. Right? Donna Brazile came out speaking on it. Elizabeth Warren spoke on it, even though she kind of backtracked a little later. But the DNC, in many, many ways, screwed Bernie Sanders. And at that time, people were sort of just like, I mean, I don't agree with it, but we got to move on. We got to push forward. We got to defeat this Trump guy, right? And they kind of brushed it aside. Progressives were really upset about it. The Bernie Sanders people were really upset about it. But it kind of, in so many ways, got pushed under the rug. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I don't want to say lost her position. I believe she got repositioned in a sense. And they sort of just took that and went with it. Now, the DNC is being incredibly shady to Tulsi Gabbard. Now, Kirsten Gillibrand just, announced that she was stepping down in her running for POTUS. And all these other, John Delaney, all these other people fell off and they're no longer in the race for being POTUS. But let's just be clear. They never had a chance to be POTUS. It just wasn't happening. So you're stepping down, it means absolutely nothing. And the people that were pushing for those people, like, are you serious? Like, what a waste of time. What a colossal waste of time you put yourselves through. And I like to refer to them as fodder, right? And Kirsten Gillibrand was sort of the last of the fodder. Tulsi Gabbard does not fall into that fodder category. Though, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I don't believe she's going to win or even had a shot at winning POTUS either. But she wasn't fodder. She was somebody who needed some acknowledgement and who made you really think. And her ideas were robust, and what she had to say was incredibly interesting. But again, I don't think she had a chance for POTUS in this running. People she was going against had too much support, and there was just no way she was going to overcome those hurdles. The hurdles of Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, or Elizabeth Warren. I'd say, the most impressive thing she's done was expose Kamala Harris. I'm not saying that's the most important thing she's done, or the most important thing she has said. She said some really important things, and again, she has amazing ideas and brings up really important concerns. But the most impressive thing she did was sort of take Kamala Harris off of her high horse. And that needed to be done. It opened a lot of people's eyes. So I'll give credit where credit is due. But back to the DNC. So the DNC, for you to be in this next debate, had a certain criteria you had to meet. Okay? And let's just be clear. Tulsi Gabbard met that criteria. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Right? You had to have a certain amount in the polling, etc. And in every instance, she made the cut. However, the DNC chose to ignore those polls that Tulsi was high enough in, and choose other polls that she was low in. Now, these polls that they chose to ignore were credible polls, right? They weren't bullshit, made up, non-important polls. These were polls that were very, very relevant. And that's really what brings up the question as to what is DNC approved polls? Like, what what makes it a DNC approved poll. And that's one of the things Tulsi was talking about, was that things lacked transparency. Now, and I'm sure, I don't want to say nefarious. Listen, Tucker Carlson, I feel like he's a smart guy, but I feel like he plays his field very well, right? He's not stupid. And I've seen some Tucker Carlson interviews, and I'm like, you get it. I fuck with what you're saying. And then I've seen some Tucker Carlson interviews, and I'm like, you fucking shill. Why are you doing this? Why are you acting this way? Well, on Wednesday, Gabbard, she went on Tucker Carlson's Fox News show. Before it began, Tucker introduced her by framing the situation in this manner. He said she's young, she's progressive, she's an Iraq war veteran, she stands among the Democratic candidates in opposing starting wars like Iraq or bombing Syria. Therefore, the Democratic Party appears eager to sideline her. Gabbard has done well in a number of recent polls, but the Democratic Party does not recognize these polls and may use that to keep her off the debate stage next month. And when Gabbard was introduced, she pretty much echoed the concerns that Tucker said. Now, is Tucker doing this to kind of put a pie in the face of the DNC because obviously he's Republican, he's for Fox? Sure. That's exactly what he's doing, in my opinion. But he's not wrong. And yes, now here I am saying that somebody on Fox News isn't wrong. See, DNC, you see what you made me do? And the very next morning, Tulsi Gabbard went on CNN for an interview. And she encountered a lot of pushback, right? They noted that the DNC has in fact been transparent for months about the polls they're using to determine who qualifies for the third debate. And I mean, they pretty much sided with the DNC. Of course, and of course, to quote Cenk Uygur. So that's really some shit when you can go on Fox News and they're actually saying and giving the correct framing, which is rare, and then you go on CNN and, they're giving you the bullshit framing. Listen, if you for one instance think Tulsi Gabbard does not deserve to be on that stage, or that she hasn't hit the quota or the criteria to be on that stage, then you got to screw loose, because she absolutely deserves to be on that stage. And I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist. When I was talking about the Epstein case, a lot of people were like, dude, serious. They killed that motherfucker. And even when I tried to play devil's advocate, they weren't trying to hear that shit. People weren't trying to hear that shit. So I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist. But this has a lot to do, I think, with the Kamala situation. And no, I don't have any facts to back that up. Right now, I am telling you that is my opinion, right? I think they don't like Tulsi's rhetoric. If you look every time, they call her a Assad apologist. Yo, they do not like Tulsi Gabbard. And it's very weird because usually the Dems and the Republicans cling on to military people. When you're a military-esque person, they fucking cling on to you, and they give you a lot more passes and almost worship the ground you walk on, in a sense. But Tulsi, the things she's saying, they're so progressive and so not in the center that they're like, nah, she's got to go. We got to fucking get rid of Tulsi. So, yeah, I think the DNC is trying to screw her. I think, they needed to be a lot more clear in the polls they were going to choose, because from what Gabbard's saying, they weren't clear at all. And they spoke to Andrew Yang. He's a sly mofo. He was like, no, I think they were very transparent in the polls. And if you had an issue with how they did things, you should have raised it. You should have said something first. You should have raised that as a concern first. It's pretty ironic, seeing as how he's saying that, but then they literally, was it MSNBC or CNN? I want to say it's one of the two. Pretty sure it's CNN. Literally like erased Yang's who they think the top 6 are, and they put Beto O'Rourke, even though Yang has more support. It's at 3% as opposed to Beto O'Rourke's 1%. They like erased Yang from a recent polling as to who they think the top 6 are. It's fucked up. So yeah, I'm just curious as to what you guys think. Do you think the DNC is screwing Tulsi? Do you think hey, she knew what she was getting into and she didn't complain beforehand, so deal with the consequences? I'm curious as to your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.